Okay, hi. Luckily, my 12-year-old daughter is home, so she's going to help me do this. The first step, I'm just going to video the slideshow that is too big to send as an attachment. Oops. Okay. So, my big idea was how can two half-time teachers have classroom consistency? So, I was focusing on trying to find enough common threads that the fact that we were out of the classroom every other day wouldn't make a huge difference if possible. Creating a schedule. Why? So David Warford has a blog, a daddy blog, and he wrote, kids don't have a lot of control in their lives, but routines give them a sense of organization, stability, and comfort that in turn should help develop better behavior and a sense of personal control, especially in young kids. Routines not only have emotional benefits but health benefits as well, and I couldn't agree more. There are a lot of things that we can't control, like the child's bedtime and diet, but this was something my partner and I felt very important needed to be done. So initially, I was sure that morning would be when the kids were, you know, more apt to learn and retain information. But every time I tried to do research on it, I kept coming across this same study that was done, and it was on the Center for Evaluation and Monitoring, and it says that contrary to popular belief, children actually learn slightly better in the afternoon. Now, it was very slight, but some of the parts of the study weren't clear to me. So I didn't know if the kids were missing naps or stuff the way they might be in school. So I didn't really, and again, it was such a slight difference. I didn't really end up mattering so much in my planning as much as I thought it would. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of this video. You can always watch it on your own. Um, it's supposed to actually play right now. Oop.
So glad you joined us. I'm Julie Baumgardner, and this is Julie B TV. I remember one year, it was Christmas, and we had been to my mother-in-law's house for Christmas Eve, and then we drove to my mom's house, and our daughter was up really late, and then, of course, we got up really early on Christmas Day. Christmas evening, we had a massive meltdown. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the heck is going on? This has been fun, good day. Why are we having this meltdown? And I realized later, not at that moment in time, later, that, we had just totally blown everything that we normally do as a family. Like it all went out the window in order to accommodate a bunch of other people and what they wanted to see happen around this particular time. Fast forward a number of years later, and I'm doing all of this work with families and with parents, and what I realize is that sometimes we as adults don't realize how perhaps scheduled we are. We have this day timer, we have our phone, we keep our appointments on there, but our kids, they don't have that. It's like we function as their day timer. And you think about yourself when you don't know what to expect, what's coming next, it's not a very good feeling. We tend to do better at controlling ourselves with that bad feeling. Our kids, they just lay it all out there. They have a meltdown, pitch a fit, throw a tantrum on the floor when they feel out of control. So, what I thought we could talk about today is the idea of routines, rituals, consistency, and structure, and how important they are in that this is how our children order their lives. So let's take routines. You think about your day. When you get up, what happens after you get up? If if you are heading out, if your child goes to preschool, what do they do to get ready for that? They head out for the day. Everybody comes back home. What does coming home look like? What does your evening look like? Do you eat dinner together? Bath time, bedtime, and then what time do you normally go to sleep? All of those things, when they're different every single day and children don't know what to expect, it's a very bad, out of control feeling. And the way that they respond to that is with a meltdown. They're just trying to tell you, this is not working for me. So, with routines, if you can figure out consistency in that, which is one of the other ones that we want to talk about, getting up at a regular time, going to bed at a regular time, bath time at the same time, at bedtime, what do you do at bedtime? There is enter rituals. All of that, your child knows, oh, I can count on this. This is what we do. In our family, if you had asked our daughter early on, let's say in the first grade, what does it look like at your house? She would tell you, I get up at 8 o'clock. We leave for school at 8:45 because her school didn't start until 9 o'clock. And then somebody picks me up in the afternoon. I come home. We do homework. We eat dinner around 6. I take a bath around 7. We usually read a book or do something like that before I go to bed. We pray when I go to bed, and then I sleep. So she always knew what to expect. That's powerful in a child's world. It gives them security, and they know what's coming next. It's just like if you actually go into a kindergarten class and you ask them what they do throughout the day, they do the same thing because it provides consistency for the kids. When it comes to structure, there's actual research that says that children do better on playgrounds with fences than on playgrounds without fences. And the reason for that is that they know exactly where the boundary is. Now you have to keep in mind that it's a child's job to test the boundaries. So sometimes you're going to say, don't step across this line, and they go, boom, and they step right across the line because they want to know what you're going to do. So as a parent, our job is to provide that structure, to help them know this is what's acceptable and this is what you can count on from me. If you do something that you're not supposed to do, that I ask you not to do, you can count on the fact that we're going to deal with that because it's my job to keep you safe. So giving them structure. And that means talking with them about, in our home, we do these things. For example, in our house, big rule for me was not saying shut up and being respectful to each other. And so even early on, before our daughter could write, we would still write out, this is the Baumgardner rules and expectations in our home. This is how we live. We would write those out and everybody signed their name, including our daughter. And sometimes that was just a scribble. And then when she was older, it was writing out her name. And we put it on the refrigerator so that everybody knows this is how we live. So structure matters.
Okay, so I think we can stop there. It is a 10-minute video. It's at juliebtv.com if you want to check out the rest. And although she's talking from a parenting perspective, I thought it really went with teaching kindergarten as well. So, a big contributor to this is the kindergarten program. So in trying to weave a common thread, but to hold our week together that applied, whether it was me or my partner teaching, we of course use the curriculum as a guide. And the good thing about the curriculum is that it's non-negotiable. So she and I are going to follow the same curriculum, even though our teaching plan might be different, our teaching style might be different. So one of these, I just refer to this video that's called The Progression of Early Number and Counting, it's supposed to say, on Vimeo. It's a really good video to watch. I didn't want to take up too much time of my video to show it. If there's time at the end, I will. So speaking of curriculum, here are the things we are looking at teaching. So this is the first year for both SK and JK. The number sense and enumeration, measurement, and geometry. I've got the list of different expectations. Overall expectations are 15 and 20, and then the specific ones. So I've done that. So this is for year 1 and 2, which means like JK and SK. This is first term. And then term 2 for both years. Of course, it'll look different. Most SKs will be more capable than the JKs. And then our literacy behaviors. So again, the overall expectations 1, 9, 10, and 11, and then the specific expectations below. And then for the second term, these are the things we'll be doing, looking for, commenting on, reporting on. Okay, so I did end up making our schedule. So this is our schedule, our weekly schedule. So the way our school works, we work on a 5-day rotation. So I'm at this school days 1, days 3, and every other day 5. She'll be teaching kindergarten on days 2, day 4, and every other day 5. So we didn't have a lot of choice in our afternoons because that's when they were giving us our prep and also our gym time. Our school has over 700 kids, and something I don't like is they double up the kinders for gym. So you can have 60 kids, 60 kindergarten kids with 2 teachers, 2 ECEs, and gym at once. And last year, actually, we had a pretty bad accident where a very small JK and a very large SK collided, and the JK immediately started vomiting and passing out and bleeding, and he had a really bad concussion. And so it's kind of like it's like bug scattering, like when you really have to control it. Luckily our prep teachers do gym for us, so I won't even be there to call 911 when that happens. But so in the mornings we had a chance. I'm going to show you, I think I have time to show you what is. So it says like entry routines. My teaching partner and I agreed we're both going to have the kids sign in, and how that looks will be different. We'll work with the seasons and other interests, so it's not always the same thing. Although we do want them to sign their agenda each day. We thought that was a great way to show parents their progress. So every day in their agenda, they will write their names. And at the beginning of the year, it could just be scribbles, and then by the end of the year, well, long before the end of the year, hopefully they're writing their names clearly. And then our morning meeting, that is going to be a large group carpet time, and it's very detailed. I'm going to put it on here to show you what it's going to look like. And the good thing about that is it's such, first of all, it's first thing in the morning. Secondly, it's so specific that it's going to be great to have something like this, whether she's there or I'm there. It's going to start the first block of their day off with total consistency. Even if we do it a little differently, they're going to recognize the thing we use and everything else. And then playful learning is going to be center time. So that's when they can go to all the different centers to explore. The lunch or the sand table, if they're hungry, they can have one healthy snack out of their lunch at the food center. They can have the science centers. Everything's going to be set up for them. Everything at within reach, so they can help themselves. Then when we do lunch after recess, so there's going to be playful learning, lunch, they eat outside, then they go for recess, and then each day after recess is extended outdoor play. And the good thing is my partner and I agree that it doesn't matter what the weather is, rain, whatever, we are going to take that extended outdoor time. And so up till now, that brings us to 11:30. So right there, up from the time they get to school at 8:35 until 11:30, they have done the exact same thing, whether it's me or my partner there. So I feel like just that I can breathe a big sigh of relief, because they have done the exact same thing. They can predict their environment. They know when they come in what they're going to be doing. And then because the afternoons are a little varied because of our prep times and stuff, it'll be okay because they're anchored in that consistency, I feel. So again, we didn't have a choice in our gym time and stuff. So things are going to just not be as consistent in the next 2 blocks. Well, really for the rest of the day. But one thing we agreed on at the very end is that we will have the same home routines. So, I mean, I have faith in the kids that, that middle block being a little different possibly each day won't be a huge disruption. I feel really good that I've managed to make it so their first block of the day is exactly the same regardless of who's there. Of course, there may be assemblies, although our school doesn't invite the little ones usually to assemblies, which I think is a shame. But I feel really good about this, and I also feel good that parents will be able to ask their kids, what do you do, and hopefully they'll get to memorize their mornings. Okay, so we're using the 4 frames, and this is another thing. So as far as documentation, observation, reporting goes, we've agreed on these questions by frame. So there's the self-regulation and well-being. How do they manage their snacks and lunch? How do they manage being tired or overstimulated? How do they manage transitions? You can read on there. So these are things my partner and I have both agreed. This is what we're going to look at under the self-regulation and well-being frame. Under demonstrating literacy and mathematics behaviors, we've also put a list of things we're going to watch for and comment on, like what evidence of mathematical thinking, how do they use numbers, what do they know about numbers, what math vocabulary they have. And speaking of math vocabulary, another thing I've always done with kinders is as soon as they come in, I teach them what perimeter means. When I ask them to sit around the perimeter of the carpet, they know exactly what that means. And so that way in older grades, when they have to learn what perimeter is, they've already got a grasp of that and what it means. So I tell them it's like if we were building a fence around the carpet, and we do this for music. We do this for other activities as well. So when I actually yell, perimeter people, and they scooch and they go right away to the perimeter of the carpet. So here are the other frames: problem solving and innovating, belonging and contributing, and these are other things we'll be looking at. So pros and cons. So my partner and I didn't really have a choice. I did not want to be a half-time kindergarten teacher. I wanted to stay doing kinder prep. She would have loved a full-time kindergarten job, but they gave her half, and they gave her primary prep as her other half. So our hands were tied. So we do have pros and cons, things we can do, like the same entrance routine each morning, same morning routine, end of day routine, same birthday celebrations, same expectations, whether it's letting them eat all day at tables, transferring. Some teachers don't allow kids to take from one center to another, but one of the videos we watched in this course had beads, showed a boy who took a pipe or tube from one center over to the beads and was dropping the beads down the tube. My partner and I agree that it's good to let kids do stuff like that. So I see I'm running out of time. So things we can't do. We can't be there both for parents, both at the same time, whether we want to, but we are going to do our best. I guess we're out of time.